For the cutoff holder, there's a new feature that you need to be aware of, and that is creating tangent lines. A tangent line is where it goes from being a straight line and then hitting this curve where there is actually no direct intersection. That line would never cross the circle or inside of the arc. That is known as tangency. You will see a symbol appear at the end of your cursor. If we draw this from this vertex to the arc, to the circle, it happens very easily. It just happens right there at the end of your cursor. You'll find the point of tangency. We can also add a constraint for tangency. And it is a good way to ensure that it is tangent. And we will look at both ways of doing so. This is a raised boss at 1/8 of an inch. We do have an 1/8 inch radius here and here on the boss, but we have a 3/16 radius here. The order in which you put these radii or these fillets on, it does matter. We need to put the 1/8 inch radiuses on first, radii on first, and the 3/16. This one is in fractions, so with fractional input we need to put a space between the whole number and the fraction. And this part is in inches. So if we start a sketch, and for this one I would actually start my sketch in the front, in the right side. Set my base material. I have these 2 little notch cuts in the bottom, and I know that it is centered, so I'm going to keep this feature centered in between as I go to create my 2 circles. I'm going to draw a larger diameter circle and then the 1/2 inch hole in the middle. Before I go too far, we're going to set some overall dimensions. The overall width is 2 1/8, with an overall height of this base material of being 5/8, 5/32, and this little groove on the bottom is 5/16. The distance to the center of the circle is not measured from the bottom of the part. If we take note to where this extension line goes, it goes to that little groove that's cut underneath. This is probably the most common mistake with this one. So being that I've created a line across this 5/32 gap underneath, I can now set the length to the center of those 2 circles as being 1 5/8. This will now allow me a mark to start my 1/2 inch circle and my outside larger radius. Being that this was given in radius, I drew a circle. I need to double the radius to get the diameter. 22/16 is double 11/16, and the hole is a 1/2 inch. Now for tangent line construction. If I start at the vertex, I will get tangency very easily. Right there at the end of my cursor, I have this circle with a line. That is the signification or the schematic symbol for tangency. The problem is, if I try to start on the arc, tangency does not come as easy. That line is going through the circle. I can add a constraint. If I select this line and hold in shift and select this circle, I can add a tangent constraint. For this one, find the point of tangency, and we have created a profile that we can now extrude. I'm going to extrude the overall length, which is 3.5 inches. I do have a flat face that I can sketch on, and I would recommend sketching a rectangle. Being that you don't have any direct reference point, having a rectangle that is larger than the material would be in your best interest. Distance up is 5/8, and the thickness of the material that remains is 1/2 inch. And this is a push-pull to remove this material all the way across. Whether you want to cut the hole or add the boss, the order does not matter. But I am going to be sketching circles on here. By using a line and the midpoint that keeps this centered, I am opting to add the boss first. And it is 1.5 inches from the front edge. So in this case, I'm going to make sure that I am joining these two together, that this is 1/8 of an inch. Now I have reference to cut my circle, which if I was adding the boss, I would also have reference if I cut the hole first. So I can snap the diameter of the circle. It's not snapping, so we'll set a diameter and cut this material. That hole goes all the way through. The order in which you create your fillets does matter. The 1/8 inch fillets first, followed by my 3/16. Material, again, cast iron, and we are going to machine surfaces. Holes are always machined. The lack of the hatch pattern is an indication that a surface is machined. There's some from that view. There's some there. We'll hit this other side. And then also the back. There are no fillets that run around the back edge, so this surface here would be machined. Just give it a quick check. Make sure all the surfaces are machined that need to be. Tangent line construction for the cutoff holder.